Hi again, 7th graders. Today we're going to start our final story for the school year. You can find this story in the green textbook, so you need your green textbook. And you should open up to page 84. The story is called Born Worker, and it is written by Gary Soto. So what I'm going to do is read the first part of the story today, and then your only assignment will be to leave a comment underneath this video, starting with a discussion starter. So I liked because, I disliked because, I noticed, I wonder, I predict, I'm confused by, a connection I made was. I feel like I'm leaving one of them out. Okay, so on page 84, please follow along with me while I read the story aloud. Born Worker by Gary Soto. They said that Jose was born with a ring of dirt around his neck, with grime under his fingernails and skin calloused from the grainy twist of a shovel. They said his palms were already rough by the time he was 3, and soon after he learned his primary colors. His squint was the squint of an aged laborer. They said he was a born worker. By 7, he was drinking coffee slowly, his mouth pursed the way his mother sipped. He wore jeans, a shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows. His eye could measure a length of board, and his knees genuflected over flower beds and leafy gutters. They said lots of things about Jose, but almost nothing of his parents. His mother stitched at a machine all day, and his father, with a steady job at the telephone company, climbed splintered, sun-sucked poles, fixed wires, and looked around the city at tree level. "What do you see up there?" Jose once asked his father. "Work," he answered. "I see years of work." Mijo. And mijo means my son in Spanish. Jose took this as a truth, and though he did well in school, he felt destined to labor. His arms would pump, his legs would bend, his arms would carry a world of earth. He believed in hard work, believed that his strength was as ancient as a rock's. "Life is hard," his father repeated from the time Jose could first make out the meaning of words until he was stroking his fingers against the grain of his sandpaper beard. His mother was an example to Jose. She would raise her hands, showing her fingers pierced from the sewing machines. She bled on her machine, bled because there was money to make, a child to raise, and a roof to stay under. One day, when Jose returned home from junior high, his cousin Arnie was sitting on the lawn, sucking on a stalk of grass. Jose knew that grass didn't come from his lawn. His was cut and pampered, clean. "Jose, Jose," Arnie shouted as he took off the earphones of his CD Walkman. Oh, a Walkman? That's from way back in the day, guys. That gives you a clue that this wasn't all that recent. "Hi, Arnie," Jose said without much enthusiasm. He didn't like his cousin. He thought he was lazy and worse, spoiled by the trappings of being middle class. His parents had good jobs in offices and showered him with clothes, shoes, CDs, vacations, almost anything he wanted. Arnie's family had never climbed a telephone pole to size up the future. Arnie rose to his feet, and Jose saw that his cousin was wearing a new pair of high tops. He didn't say anything. "Got an idea," Arnie said cheerfully. "Something that'll make us money." Jose looked at his cousin, not a muscle of curiosity twitching in his face. Still, Arnie explained that since he himself was so clever with words, and his best cousin in the whole world was good at working with his hands, that maybe they might start a company. "What would you do?" Jose asked. Jose asked. "Me," he said brightly. "Shoot, I'll round up all kinds of jobs for you. You won't have to do anything." He stopped, then started again. "Except, do the work." "Get out of here," Jose said. "Don't be that way," Arnie begged. "Let me tell you how it works." The boys went inside the house, and while Jose stripped off his school clothes and put on his jeans and a t-shirt, Arnie told him that they could be rich. "You ever hear of this guy named Betchel?" Ernie said. Ernie asked. Arnie asked, sorry. Jose shook his head. Man, he started just like us, Arnie said. He started digging ditches and stuff. And the next thing you knew, he was sitting by his own swimming pool. You want to sit by your own pool, don't you? Arnie smiled, waiting for Jose to speak up. Never heard of this guy, Betchel, Jose said, after he rolled on 2 huge socks worn at the heels. He opened up his chest of drawers and brought out a packet of Kleenex. Arnie looked at the Kleenex. How come you don't use your sleeve? Arnie joked. Jose thought for a moment and said, I'm not like you. He smiled at his retort. Listen, I'll find the work and then we can split it 50-50. Jose knew 50-50 was a bad deal. How about 60-40? Arnie suggested, when he could see that Jose wasn't going for it. I know a lot of people from my dad's job. They're waiting for us. Jose sat on the edge of his bed and started to lace up his boots. He knew that there were agencies that would find you work, agencies that took a portion of your pay. They're cheats, he thought, people who sit in air-conditioned offices while others work. You really know a lot of people? Jose asked. Boatloads, Arnie said. My dad works with this millionaire, honest, who cooks a steak for his dog every day. He's a liar, Jose thought. No matter how he tried, he couldn't picture a dog grubbing on steak. The world was too poor for that kind of silliness. Listen, I'll go 80-20, Jose said. Aw, man, Arnie whined. That ain't fair, Jose laughed. I mean, half the work is finding the jobs, Arnie explained, his palms up as he begged Jose to be reasonable. Jose knew this was true. He had to go door to door and he disliked asking for work. He assumed that it should automatically be his since he was a good worker, honest, and always on time. Where did you get this idea anyhow? Jose asked. I got a business mind, Arnie said proudly. Just like that Betchel guy, Jose retorted. That's right. Jose agreed to a 70-30 split with the condition that Arnie had to help out, sorry. Arnie hollered, arguing that some people were meant to work and others came up with brilliant ideas. He was one of the latter. Still, he agreed after Jose said it was that or nothing. In the next 2 weeks, Arnie found an array of jobs. Jose peeled off shingles from a rickety garage roof, carried rocks down a path to where a pond would go, and spray painted lawn furniture. And while Arnie accompanied him, most of the time he did nothing. He did help occasionally. He did shake the cans of spray paint and kick aside debris so that Jose didn't trip while going down the path carrying the rocks. He did stack the piles of shingles, but almost cried when a nail bit his thumb. But mostly he told Jose what he had missed or where the work could be improved. Jose was bothered because he and his work had never been criticized before. But soon, Jose learned to ignore his cousin, ignore his comments about his spray painting, or about the way he lugged rocks 2 in each arm. He didn't say anything either when he got paid, and Arnie rubbed his hands like a fly, muttering, "It's payday." Then Arnie found a job scrubbing a drained swimming pool. The 2 boys met early at Jose's house. Arnie brought his bike. Jose's own bike had a flap that grinned like a clown's face. I'll pedal, Jose suggested, when Arnie said that he didn't have much leg strength. With Arnie on the handlebars, Jose tore off, his pedaling so strong that tears of fear formed in Arnie's eyes. Slow down, Arnie cried. Jose ignored him, and within minutes they were riding the bike up a gravel driveway. Arnie hopped off at first chance. You're scary, Arnie said, picking a gnat from his eye. Jose chuckled. Then, when Arnie knocked on the door, an old man, still in pajamas, appeared in the window. He motioned for the boys to come around to the back. Let me do the talking, Arnie suggested to his cousin. He knows my dad real good. They're like this. He pressed 2 fingers together. So we're going to stop right there, right before the big J on page 88. So we are introduced to Jose, who at the beginning is, we're told that he, from the time he was born, pretty much has been known as a born worker. And that's what I want you to be thinking about as we go through the story. I want you to be thinking about what ways does Jose show that he is a born worker? How do we know? What does he do? What does he say? How does he think that shows you that he's a born worker? We are introduced to his parents, his mother, who is a seamstress, his dad, who works on like telephone poles, electrical poles. So they are both laborers, very hard workers, and good role models for Jose. Jose is very proud of the work that he does, we can see so far. We are also introduced to Jose's cousin, who Jose comes right out and says he doesn't like his cousin. He says that he's kind of lazy and he just doesn't like his attitude. And if you'll notice, his cousin Arnie is almost the exact opposite of Jose. And I want you to be kind of looking at how the two of them interact. How does Jose deal with Arnie's behavior and disagreements with Arnie? How does Arnie treat Jose? And in what ways would you say that Arnie is the opposite of a born worker? So be thinking of that as you go along. Arnie, we are told, Arnie comes up with this brilliant idea where he's going to find jobs for Jose to do, but he's going to get most of the money for it, even though he's not doing the work. He wants Jose to do all of the work. So Jose negotiates with his cousin. He comes up with a 70-30 plan and tells Arnie that he has to help with some of the work. Phew! So they start doing some of these jobs, and Arnie really is not any help at all. For the most part, he just likes to sit and say, oh, look over there, you missed a spot. People are so fun when they do that kind of stuff, aren't they? So he likes to criticize the job that Jose is doing, but doesn't really want to put any physical labor into the work himself. That's Arnie for you. They are going to a specific job where they're going to be cleaning out a pool, and they've just arrived at this man's house, the man that owns the pool. So that's where we stopped for today, and we'll pick up from where we left off tomorrow. Have a great day. See you later, 7th graders.